Good morning, Ridge Church. I'm glad to be here with you guys. I'm always here with you guys, but I'm glad to be up here, getting to talk about what we get to talk about today. I don't know if you guys caught that in Chris's intro. I think I heard him say he's glad I'm not giving advice, and I could probably give him a thumbs up on that. Maybe my advice wouldn't be very good. No, I understand. I'm grateful for a gracious intro. Today is a 100% crowd participation kind of day. That might make some of you nervous. Some of you are like, oh yeah, I was waiting on this to happen in church. I need everybody just shouting out answers to what we're gonna throw out at you. There are no wrong answers, so rest secured, including those of you in the Collective Cafe. Hopefully you guys can hear me well. We need crowd participation from you guys as well. We're gonna have hopefully a little bit of fun. Chris mentioned that the theme today is just known for, and so we're gonna throw some people up on the screen. I think most of you in the room are going to know most of these people when you see their photos, and I just want top of mind responses. What are each of these people known for? Just shout it out, don't hold back. Just, what's this person known for? Ready? Go for it. Yes, gymnastics. She's like the GOAT of gymnastics, right? Simone Biles, Olympic gold medalist. We just had that. What about this guy? MJ, basketball, the GOAT of basketball. That's right, Michael Jordan. You might catch him around town every once in a while. What this guy? Physics, the GOAT of smarts. I tested these on my wife, by the way, the other day. I was wanting to make sure there's nothing too kind of controversial or out that's going to throw the whole, sermon. And she was like, science stuff. And I was like, okay, yeah, good enough. Theory of relativity, Albert Einstein kind of changed the world in a lot of ways. JFK. Known for? Yeah, assassination. President to be assassinated. That's what I think of. I'm sure he did, other stuff, but it's J.K. Rowling. Yes. Doesn't matter Harry Potter. I hear it right here. I don't care how many books she ever writes. She could write 1,000 more books. Sorry, J.K. You're always going to be known for Harry Potter, and we appreciate you for it. How about this guy? We're going to see how many native Charlotteans like myself grew up here. Muggsy Bogues. Known for? Being short? Yeah. Shortest ever NBA player. He was the point guard for my hometown team my entire childhood. I look at that photo. It fills me with warm fuzzies, brings back so much nostalgia. Just staying on the Charlotte train for one more. What's this guy known for? Boo, yeah. Richest and worst owner in sports history, maybe. I don't know. Charlotte FC, though, hey, on the up. He brought us that. What about this guy? What's he known for? The glove? The Bronco? Yeah, this was my first thought, the Bronco chase. I just watching that for hours and hours. Unfortunately, he was actually a really good football player. Not known for that anymore, for sure. Known for murder? I don't know. Would we ever know? Speaking of football players, not known for playing football, different kind of football. This is probably the one country in the world where maybe a lot of the room would not know who this person is, Luis Suarez. Not known for really being a great football player, but for biting people 3 different times in a professional game. 3 times. 3 different times. One time was banned, I think, for a year. With our children, it's hey, you can't bite people. But the 3rd time, it's... a friend of mine sent me... this is my ADD taking over for just a moment. My friend of mine sent me a website that ranks the top 50 dirtiest footballers or soccer players of all time. He was only 13th on the list. I'm who are these top 12 ahead of him, biting people. Warning, I guess, of the vampire footballer. Hopefully, if Charlotte FC wins the first round playoff, wins our first round and progresses to the second round, this guy, along with Lionel Messi, will actually be here in Charlotte at Bank of America Stadium. So look out if you go to that game. What about this lady, Tonya Harding, known for? I heard crowbar. That's the same thing my wife said. She was like, crowbar. Yes, crowbar. We won't go into that anymore. No, I'm sure she was a great figure skater, but not really what she's known for. Will Smith? The slap. So I was kind of hoping you'd say that. Yes, Fresh Prince, 5 years ago, or even in my mind, it's he's known for the Fresh Prince, but nowadays, this is... and Fresh Prince was so long. He's done so many huge hit movies. Maybe, I'm guessing he's got to be one of the biggest hit movie actors of all time. And now this is what he's known for. Incredible. What about this guy, Daniel Radcliffe? He is this guy. I'm sure he hates it, but he could be in, similar to J.K., 1,000 movies, could be hits. It doesn't matter. The rest of his life, he could be an old man. You don't even recognize him. He's always going to be known for Harry Potter. Thank you. I was hoping someone would just bust out singing it, but yes. Couldn't tell you another thing about these guys other than that they're Hanson brothers and Mbop. That's it. That's what they're known for. This is Carrie Fisher, by the way, in case you don't recognize her. Princess Leia. I could not tell you another single detail about her. She's just Princess Leia. That's what she's known for. Malala Yousafzai, known for? Love it. Freedom. Beautiful. Girls' rights, female rights, education rights, particularly in the Middle East. MLK? Known for civil rights and having a dream. Mother Teresa? Yeah, human rights, like being there in the midst of the poor, extreme poverty. You're not going to recognize this person's photo. It's not even a photo. It's before photos. It's not George Washington. William Wilberforce is who this person is. Known for ending legal slavery, ending the slave trade. Not quite as well known. Very little known fact. Not only did he lead the campaign as a politician to end the slave trade a couple hundred years ago, at least in Europe, on multiple occasions, wasn't like very public, but people found it after he died. He gave away more money to amazing causes in a year than he made that year. Like he gave away more than his salary, more than his earnings. Pretty incredible. So I thought it'd be a fun exercise just to start off getting us thinking hopefully more about what we are known for currently, what we would like to be known for in hopefully the many years left of our lives. Just by thinking about some of these people, you can see how easy it is to be known for one thing and maybe be known for something else that you didn't necessarily want to be known for. I thought it was a fun stroll down memory lane, though. As we think about what, I don't know, as I hope you'll think about this morning and maybe the rest of the week, what do you want to be known for? And to help us do that, because really I think it's helpful to think about this ahead of time. If you don't think about it ahead of time, you're going to be known for probably something that you maybe wouldn't have intended to be known for. But I think it's helpful to think in our minds, maybe even like write it down sometime. What do I want to be known for? What do you want to be known for? I want to read a short passage just to kind of help us this morning from a letter in the New Testament. The Apostle Paul, he wrote a lot of letters to a lot of New Testament churches. He wrote this one. It might actually be the fourth letter that he wrote to this church in Corinth, but we call it 2 Corinthians because it's only the second one that we have. Just to see what this group of people that he's writing about, to see what they were known for. And just want to give you a couple quick things for context. It'll save us some time so we don't have to read like 2 whole chapters. 3 points of context, because there's really 3 churches that kind of come up in this short passage that we're going to read in the letter. First century maps are a little bit different, but we've got the church in Jerusalem that he's going to be mentioning a couple times, or Jerusalem within Judea. Extremely poor. They were at the bottom economically, like probably the poorest church that there was in this first century new era of the church. They were the most oppressed, most taxed by the Roman government. They were kind of right there in the heat of things. So they were really underneath it, not doing well in their faith, not doing well economically. Second church we've got, Paul's going to talk about, is the church in Macedonia, which is like modern day. They've got like North Macedonia, Serbia, around that kind of area, if you can picture that in your mind. Not too close to Jerusalem, pretty far, especially first century means of travel. They're known for some pretty cool stuff. That's who we're going to talk about in this passage today. And the third church is a church in Corinth, the one that Paul's actually writing this letter to. So let's just dive in. 2 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 1, Paul just gets right to it. We want you to know about the Macedonian churches. Like, we want you to know something really cool that they're known for. What are these churches in Macedonia known for? Verse 2, their overflowing joy and their extreme poverty welled up in rich generosity. Feels like an oxymoron, like when does extreme poverty well up into rich generosity? Well, they weren't doing great economically, but they weren't as bad off as the church in Jerusalem, which we're going to come to in verse 4. Paul writes, this church in Macedonia, urgently pleaded with us for the privilege, interesting word choice, the privilege of sharing in this service to the Lord's people. Essentially what Paul had done was go around to all these churches, and because the church in Jerusalem or within Judea was suffering so harshly economically, it was like, hey, could all these other churches like chip in? Could we go around and take up offerings to help this church that's suffering economically. So that's the service to the Lord's people that he's mentioning. Another translation, same verse, puts it this way. They came to us on their own, begging to take part in this work of grace to support the poor saints in Judea. Begging for this privilege of sharing in this beautiful service. Now, I don't know what you think about when you think about generosity or you think about people giving to help others, but I lead a nonprofit organization, and one of the big things that comes along with it is raising funds to do help support people doing amazing work far away. And I rarely had people come begging, to share in that privilege. But that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful way Paul puts it. And again, if you can, I don't know how great your geography is entrenched in your mind, whether modern day or certainly not first century. These are really, really far apart, really difficult to travel from this area of Macedonian church all the way around and down to this church in Jerusalem. So I think it's safe to say none of these people would have ever met each other. Probably not even know. They're not like exchanging letters back and forth. This is a really expensive enterprise to take on. This is just, hey, there's some other people who follow the same Jesus as you. They're trying to do the same work as you. They're trying to join in the same mission of God as you in a faraway place, and they are really suffering. We know you're suffering economically, but they're suffering even worse. They're even lower, and these people just came back begging to Paul when presented with this choice, with this option to be a part of it, begging to take part in this. So in verse 7, Paul turns his attention in the letter to the church. He's actually writing to the church in Corinth, and he simply says, now I ask you to invest richly in this gracious work too. Hey, Macedonian church, much poorer, much worse off than you in Corinth. They stepped up pretty big time. In fact, they begged us. Like they went big. He goes on in the passage. I'll spare it. You guys can go back and read this later. But they surprised us. They went really, really big. Now, I'm asking you to do this as well. In verse 8, he writes, now I'm not going to command you, but I'm going to offer you the chance to prove your love genuine. I love that phrase. I'm just going to give you the chance. This is not like a command. It's not like something you have to do. I'm just going to offer you the chance to prove your love genuine in the same way others have done. Now, I don't know if you ever, those of you with kids in the room, if you ever tried this, like with your 8-year-old or something, I don't know. Like, hey, I bet, like your 6-year-old little brother, he cleaned his room in about 30 minutes, and I bet you can't do. Like, I bet it'll take you way long. I bet you can't. I don't know. Like, try to like trick when you're. It feels like this is maybe what Paul's up to here. Like, hey, you don't have to do this. You don't have to do anything. But I'm just going to give you the chance just to see if you can step up like this Macedonian church did, to prove your love genuine in the same way they've proved their love genuine. And one more example in verse 9. One more person and what they're known for. You guys already know, our Lord Jesus Christ, that though he was rich, yet for your sake he became poor, so that through his poverty, so that you, through his poverty, might become rich. Never really we think of Jesus being known for a lot of things. We don't often think that of Jesus kind of coming from this place of having it all, of being rich and giving it all away for the sake of those who were more lowly and in need and in poverty. But this Macedonian church is really what I want to focus on, being known for their big love, their big generosity, Jesus really being known for the same thing. And Paul is essentially inviting this church in Corinth, this brand new church just popping up in the first century. He's inviting them to do the same, saying, just like the Macedonian church was an answer to the Jerusalem church's desperate prayer, that just in desperate poverty, just like they were an answer to their prayer, Paul's asking, hey, you, church in Corinth, can be an answer to their prayer as well. And I think if Paul were maybe snuck in here today with us here at Ridge Church, I think he would invite us to do the same thing as well. Like, hey guys, I'll offer you the chance to be known for this as well, to be known for this lavish love and generosity, to be an answer to the prayer of others. In some faraway place that you may never meet, you may never get to travel there, but to still be an answer to their prayer. So the Macedonian church was an answer to the church in Jerusalem's prayer. I don't know how you're feeling so far. Wouldn't it be cool to be known for that? Wouldn't it be cool to be known as a church that was an answer to some people's prayer, maybe some other church's prayer in a faraway place that was in a much more desperate place? Or what about you personally? Like, wouldn't it be cool to be known for something like this? An answer to someone else's prayer who is in desperate need? Good news. got good news for you right now. You already are known for this. You already are known for being a generous church, some generous people who are a part of this church. I think in a lot of places, in a lot of areas, certainly down the street at Piney Grove Elementary School, I know that this church has been known for that for a long time. But even a place as far away as Malawi, Africa, where my family and I got the privilege to live for pretty much this whole summer, you guys, when I talk about Ridge Church, they know the church that I come from that kind of helped launch and send out Renown Collective. You guys are known for being generous. You guys are known for your big love. You guys are known for taking part in some really cool, amazing projects that I'll get to in just a second. And just so you guys know, because some of you may not, I know a lot of people are new to our church. Ridge Church has been a big part of Renown Collective, this nonprofit's existence, really from the very beginning, really from like the pre-beginning, because Chris Brown was maybe one of the few people willing to sit and listen to me over lunch, just spill out my guts and my heart and my dream and vision for this thing, encourage me toward it, help me know, first steps to take. Ridge Church was the first huge offering, I think maybe around a Be Rich type campaign or some type of special Sunday, a huge check just to help get Renown Collective off the ground, to help fund the very first drilling of the very first well to supply clean water, actually to a place in Malawi, not far from where we were this summer. Has been a constant partner from the beginning, all the way until now. So if you are generous here to this church, if you're someone who gives to Ridge Church, has been your church for any length of time, you already are known for things like this. You already are known for being a generous person, being an answer to other people's prayer. And I want to talk more about that in a minute. But first, I just want to introduce you to just a handful of heroes in Malawi, some real people that we spent a lot of time with this summer. And I just want to tell you just a brief thing about each one to tell you what they are known for in their community. So all these people are known for some pretty cool things, and I can't go into all of them. And I hope seeing their faces, I hope hearing just a glimpse of what they're known for is inspiring to you as we each consider, hopefully leave here today and think about what do we personally want to be known for in our story. So I'm going to start with hopefully Pastor Robert here and his wife. Pastor Robert has started, I've lost count of how many churches. He worked with World Vision for about 25 years, and he's still there in Malawi. And Pastor Robert really right now is known for, he is one of the only ones that we've been able to find, the most rural, kind of poorest part of Malawi, which is already one of the poorest countries in the world. He's got like a seminary education. He has some formal training. And so he's taken that and is now, I think we're up to close to 100 pastors of these churches in this area who we're partnering together for them to receive training from him, which is really, really exciting. You'll actually hear more from him in just a moment. This is Pastor Yona, one of the first people that Pastor Robert trained. He's only about 31 years old, and what he's known for is he is the pastor of a church that you guys actually might have heard from him before, and I know at one point at Ridge Church there was some donation to Renown Collective, and as he stepped in as the brand new pastor of this church, they're big into worship, they're big into music, they had no musical instruments, and so the offering essentially helped buy a keyboard, some speakers, microphone, just some musical instruments, and it changed everything. And so now he's known for being kind of the host pastor of this conference when all the pastors come together several times a year for training. They actually sleep in the church. There are at least 50 pastors at a time who show up for these 4-day-long trainings. They're eating there. They're like everything is happening at his church building. And one of the reasons this spot was chosen for a great spot to do these trainings is because they've got a speaker and a microphone, and like they can be heard when so many people gather. And that's all the way back to a thank you to the generosity of Ridge Church making that happen. Different church, like way, 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 way down the road. This is the Goma Women's Choir. I would say they're known for some of the sweetest harmonies and dance moves in all of southern Malawi. And a cool thing is we've got some cool music videos of them, but you can actually look them up on Spotify. Right now, you can pull your phone out, you can go home today, just type in Renown Collective or Goma Women's Choir, and they're there. They got a couple songs now on Spotify. You can listen to that. You probably won't understand much, but you can at least see the song titles in English. This is Pastor Roderick. He's actually the pastor of that Goma church, and I got to preach at his church this summer. It was only his second Sunday. He's another pastor that Pastor Robert has recently trained, again, through the partnership of Renowned Collective and generosity of people like you. But I wanted to call your attention. I don't know how well you can see it. His ordination was just a couple weeks before I was there, his second Sunday, and I felt so bad. Like, what? This is your second Sunday ever being pastor of this church. You don't want me speaking. I try to convince him otherwise. But his son there, one of his sons, is wearing, they had shirts printed for all his family with like his face on it at his ordination. I thought it was really, really cool. I was like, that's a great idea. You can't see his suit too well, but when that guy was standing up there, like introducing me at the church, I was like, this guy is known, he's got to be known for best dressed man in all of Malawi. 3-piece suit. It was like, I don't know, 90-something degrees, but yeah. Glad it feels a lot cooler in here today as I'm speaking. Changing gears a little bit, this is Lawrence, who has worked with an organization named COPRED, which is one of our first partners ever in Malawi. And I just want to zoom all the way in. I could tell you a lot about what this guy is known for, but back to that church hosting the pastor trainings, they're also simultaneously hosting, because the local church there is just thriving in a faith kind of way and doing big work for God's kingdom kind of way. They're not only hosting, kind of training all the pastors from these churches who have never received any formal or even informal type training. The church has decided, hey, we've got people dying of senseless stuff. We need to train some community health workers in places we don't have hospitals or access to doctors. So that kind of training is happening for over 30-something villages right now. And then poverty is just, it's 72 cents a day if you're lucky enough to have a job, which most people aren't. It's pretty steep poverty. So the churches have decided to start these church-based savings and loan programs. Think of it like a rural bank. It's a beautiful thing. The pastors are all part of it. They're promoting it, and the people are coming into the church, people who don't even attend the church, and able to receive small business loans, able to have a safe savings account through this kind of group process. I could talk about that for days. But Lawrence, back to him with COPRED, they, up in the north of Malawi, we had partnered with them to start, I think, a couple hundred of these just village savings and loan groups. And so he's the expert. And so he was so willing, what he's known for now in this region where we spent some time, to come and train all the leaders of these church-based savings and loan programs so they get off to a good start. They know what they're doing. They're trained by an expert who's helped start hundreds of these, which is really exciting. So thankful for Lawrence and that he's known for that. His good friend Ruben also came along. He was a part of those trainings, but Ruben is known for so much. He's one of the directors at COPRED, helping make sure there's clean water in the most hard-to-reach places in all of Malawi. But in my mind, when I think of Ruben right now, what he's known for, he's also a pastor. He brought along some other pastors that he had raised up to help be trained at this pastor training. But this guy, through the churches that he's helped start, through the work, he's going out into the most impoverished villages, making sure there's clean water, making sure there's access to proper hygiene. And he's just finding orphans everywhere he would go. And so he would just, of the teeny tiny bit of money that he makes, he's setting it aside and he's making sure these orphans have a safe place to stay, that they have access to somehow go to school because most of them have dropped out. And at one point it just got too much, and he showed me he kind of showed me his records of like how many orphans. He's like, hey, there's this many more, and I just can't, I'm out of money. And so Renowned Collective was able to step in like, hey, let's formalize this some. And so you'll meet some of these orphans and what they're known for. But to me, this is what Ruben's known for. You can see them gather around his home. He's finding these kids, and he's making sure that they have a chance. This is Andrew, and he's known for being the 12th smartest at math in all of Malawi, which is pretty cool. It's like proven, like in some kind of math Olympiad that they did. He lives at the Good News Children's Home, an orphanage that was one of our first partnerships as well. He's also known for, we've got him on an interview, maybe some of you will see it someday. He's got a 2040 vision. I mean, this guy, he was just scholarshiped while we were there through some generous people like you to go to one of the top universities in Malawi for, it's mechanical engineering. Is that where you build like bridges and roads and like the whole like infrastructure? Civil engineer, yes, that's what it was. This guy, like the textbooks he's reading, it's insane. He's got a 2040 vision. He's got, I don't know, the equivalent of maybe like $20 US saved up. He's gonna start with a chicken business. Buy some chickens, and all the way up at 2040, that's when he's gonna have enough money to launch his construction business after he finishes this, his university that he's now scholarship for. He begins in January. And then, beyond 2040, he's going to turn Malawi into the next Dubai. And I don't know if you've ever seen roads in Malawi. Yes, give it up for Andrew. Any of you guys got a 2040 vision, by the way? And that's just the first part. I don't know when he's going to turn into Dubai. But if you've seen The Rose of Malawi, this is an ambitious kid, but he's got the brain like gifting for it. This is Elizabeth Chakwamba. Really, in a popular level, is known for being the first ever female from this region to go to university. Scholarship, again, by so many generous people like yourselves. But to the people who know her most closely, by the way, she's just started her senior year. I think it was last month, and she's crushing it. She's got like a 3-point-something GPA. Had never like used a laptop before, but she's clearly smart enough to handle it. She's known for, though, by people closest to her, just discipling girls younger than her. That's what she's been doing for, I don't know, 6 or 7 years. That's kind of her thing. It's what she loves doing. It's what she's known for. This is Chikondi, which is love in Chichewa, the native language. That's just, so his name essentially is love, and that's what he's known for. Like everywhere he goes, everyone he meets, just love like exudes from this guy. He was named very properly. Also scholarship to university. I can't remember, something like way smart, some like statistics, and yeah, he knows everything, way smarter than me or anyone that I know. One of the schools that we helped start on his breaks, he goes in and tutors the students and is like, I think what we would think of as like an adjunct teacher, and not like a fill-in, a substitute, even though he's just in his second year of university. Elijah Thomas, he's known for that smile. Anytime you talk to him, anytime you see him, he's got this big smile. While we were there, we were able to fund a scholarship for him to university. His passion is another thing he's known for, is to essentially eradicate diseases that kill people. He said, not just here in Malawi, where it's really, really bad, but like the whole world. It's, forgive me, I'm not very educated myself. It basically, like the degree he's going to get is to study, like under the microscope, like how to end diseases. What would that be? Like microbiology. Microbiology, I think, is his thing. Forgive me. I should have written this down. This guy's name is Gift, and again, another appropriately named young man, most responsible 10th grader you'll ever meet, I think. And he's just that. He's a gift to everyone who comes into contact with him. He's also the captain of the Good News Children's Home soccer team, which is brand new. I don't know if you can see. That's who I'm representing today. Good News, which is one of many, but like teams made up of orphans and vulnerable children, impoverished children from really, really impoverished situations that would never even dream of. I mean, really, nobody in this area would ever dream of playing on a team that would have professional kits like this, let alone an orphan have their name printed on the back and like the number that they would choose. It's a really, really beautiful thing that people have been a part of funding in this region. This is Samuel Watson, who is known for overcoming difficulties and barriers that just aren't talked about in Malawi, don't have the resources like toward mental health and things like that we have here. Has been living at Good News Children's Home since he was, I believe, 9 or 10 years old, and began just to excel because of their love and help and scholarship just to go to elementary school, high school. In his second year of university, nutrition, I believe, is what he's studying. Chiwalo, also known for, and you can barely pick it up in this photo, but if you spend much time with Chiwalo, and I can't remember what it's called, but definitely had a physical disability like with his neck to where he's not actually able to turn his head fully. So I've played soccer with him a few times, and it's really like interesting. But he's not known for that anymore because he's somehow, even without like probably the medical care that we would hope for here, he's somehow, even though he still has this physical disability, he's risen beyond it, and is known for being extremely smart with technology, digital, everything, things I'm not smart with. But he took over Renown Collective's social media and communications for a month at some point in the past year, which is really cool, really fun. Left a Google phone with some of our partners that he got to use for a month, just videoing and like plying his trade, which is really excited to see him get to do that. This is Enos Story, who is the headmaster at the brand new, just started their second year, Good News Academy, just had their first graduating class. I'll talk about it in a second. This guy is known for creating an unbelievable culture. All the teachers here were able to interview at Good News Academy, which, by the way, we helped to begin through the generosity of people like you, because there's only one high school for about a 20 or 25 village radius area with about 20,000 kids. So you guys do the math. The one high school had about 1,200 students. A lot of kids not going to school. There's a huge need. He's the first headmaster and has created a culture First of all, first year, 107 students, I think, ended with. To start this year is already 250 and like way more on the waiting list. So I don't know, there's not enough desks, not enough chairs. Like it was already crammed at 107. He's created a culture with these teachers. They were all telling me, like, we stay after school. We don't want to go home. We come on Saturdays. We come on Sundays. Anytime a student wants help, anytime a student wants to go through more with us, we're here. This is what we love to do. In fact, even when we're not working, we just want to be around each other. We feel like we're each other's family. This is how we have fun. And I'm like, man, you don't know what you've got here, because I know a lot of teachers, and I don't hear any of them saying things like they want to go to work, to school on a Saturday, a Sunday, and they feel like they've got a family kind of feel. This is who they want to hang out with. So well done to him. He's known for a lot of great things. This is Ruth, who at Good News Children's Home, a little over 100 children live there, and there are about 20 moms I'll introduce you to in a minute. They're called moms. These ladies who just care for the children, cook the food, like do all the things that many of you in the room as mothers are familiar with. This is just what you do when you have children. Ruth is the leader of those moms, and as well as she's one of the newly trained leaders of these church-based savings and loan groups. So she's going to be leading one of those for her church and to welcome her community into that. This is Susan, who used to be a part of the leadership team at Good News Children's Home, and she kind of just was the orphanage nurse, if you will, without a lot of formal training, but since then has been trained and is now working. She's standing outside of the Good News Clinic. She's the nurse there. First clinic of its kind. I'll come to you a little bit later as well, that you guys have had a massive part in here from Ridge Church. This is Frighten, maybe my wife's favorite person in the world, maybe above me, I don't know. But this is like the dearest, kindest man you'll ever meet. Has started at least 7 schools now in the most rural parts of Malawi. That's what he's known for. He's known for Mr. Education. He tutors orphans constantly. Orphans show up at his home, like from a long way. I don't know how they hear about it. I have no idea how this works. And they live with him for a while until he can help get them into a school somewhere, get them into a better living situation somewhere. He texted me just the other day that he had been asked to start another school. So I don't even know where he is. My family and I drove to Mozambique when we were there this summer in Malawi, and he rode with us, kind of showing us the way. And I kid you not, I don't know, every 15 minutes on this journey, these like crazy roads. And this is the school, this is the first school I ever began here. And then this is, in my 30s, the government asked me, these children have no school, so this is the school that I came and began, and this is what I did in my 30s. This guy, I don't know how old he is. I'm afraid to ask. He might be over 100. That's what Frighten's known for, though. This is Justin. That's me. By the way, I'm such a rookie at riding motorcycles. You shouldn't wear sunglasses underneath you, because those are broken and no longer have those sunglasses. This is Justin, though, who's a hero, who's known for doing whatever it takes. We're on a motorcycle because that's the only way you can ever possibly reach some of these villages in the mountains, unless you want to walk for like weeks to cut through, like making new roads. Justin does whatever it takes, because the places that don't have clean water, he goes and makes sure. He's a part of the team with Copra that makes sure the wells are drilled, and then he goes back constantly as a part of their plan to check in to make sure that all the procedures and policies are being followed so that this can be forever sustainable. This is another Susan, who's a health assistant for the government at the Ndola Health Facility, but she is known for lending her expertise to come to these trainings that the churches were hosting, to train just brand new, just people who signed up to volunteer to be the community health worker in their community, just giving of her time to do that. Pastor Thomas, known for some faithfulness, over 2 decades at his church in Lazo Village, and one of the kindest men I've ever met. This is Comfort, who is one of the orphans that Reuben found through one of the churches that he had started. Don't let this smile fool you. He took, this picture was taken as a video. I hope some of you get to see one day, when it was told he was awarded a scholarship to attend university. Now, he had gotten into university. Again, you don't go to university in Malawi unless you're really, really incredibly smart. It's a difficult line to get over. It had been over a year, maybe close to a year and a half, he was waiting, because right when he got in, his father was a farmer like most people are, and was saving up the money to pay his first semester of university. Then Cyclone Freddy hit in 2023, I think the largest, most deadly hurricane to hit Africa in the history of that continent. His father was one of the many, many, many thousands of people, unfortunately, that lost their lives, making him an orphan and completely ending his dream or hopes of paying to attend university. This photo was taken right after he was told he's known for having this amazing second chance, and he has grabbed the bull by the horn, so to speak, and is going for it. This is the head teacher or principal of the Magoti Secondary School, which is the only high school, used to be the only high school in the first region I told you about, in about a 25 village radius. Over 20 years. Over 20 years as the only principal at the only high school in a place for about 20,000 students. What she has endured, I remember a previous hurricane, she wrote us a letter. The bathrooms caved in during the hurricane. It was like I don't know if it would be considered an earthquake. It's hard to determine. But you got 1,200 students at your high school and no bathroom. Like the bathroom, literally went and saw it like the later year, and it was caved into the ground. This woman is known for her endurance, like just to keep on keeping on. So this was, I showed you Pastor Yona back at the beginning. This is an elder of that church, but he was actually the first pastor of that church. And forgive me, I'm actually blanking on his name just for a moment. Ask me tomorrow, and I'll remember. I'll tell you. I don't know if you can tell, he's blind, and everywhere he goes, he's led by someone. Someone takes him by the hand. But now he's not known as like an elder of the church. He's not known as the first pastor, although people know him as that. He's known as the drummer. So when they introduce him, he's known as the drummer. And just a quick sneak peek, the elder, the first pastor of the church, someone put the drum on him, led him, I guess, to the drum circle. I don't know what you want to call that, but that's him drumming away in church with the biggest grin on his face. Anderson, I could talk the whole time about, so we better wrap this up. When he was 19 years old, he went to help the founder of Good News Children's Home, Stephen Zulu, start it. Like these orphans were starting to come, and he quit any hope of making money because he's never been paid from 19 to now he's 45 years old. This guy gets more phone calls than I have ever seen. Like it's like he's a bank CEO running all the different things that he runs in the community now as it's blossomed and turned into so many things. But we could all take some, I don't know, tips from him, because the phone calls are like, hello, and then, and you'd say, well, okay, done. Like no phone call lasts more than 30 seconds. I'm like, man, we need training from you and efficiency. He's like, management, Patrick, management. You have so many things, it's management. Wow, this guy. But faithfulness, he said his friends all made fun of him. What are you doing? You're throwing your life away. Serving these, what's ever going to come to you from serving these orphans? 26 years later, still there, hasn't gone anywhere. This is Ruth. I'm gonna have to make some. I'll stop telling some of these stories. She's known as the netball captain for her village. The new netball team has been sponsored to go to school since she was about 11 years old. I kid you not, this lady's name is Praise God. That's her name. So I don't know if she's known for that or not as a unique name. She worked with the government at the Ndolo Health Clinic, is another one who just dedicated her time, came all the way down south. When I show up at the airport in Malawi and I tell them where I'm going, they look at me like, why? Why would anyone ever go there? So there are people coming from these government hospitals to come serve these poorest communities to help train brand new volunteers how to be community health workers and spread this important knowledge in their village. Dr. Steve, standing in front of the Good News Clinic, that center part, like kind of just to his right, I guess, is the first ever unit or first ever building of the Good News Clinic. And I can't remember the year, but there was kind of like a Be Rich Sunday at Ridge Church, and the money raised built that initial first building of the Good News Clinic. First thing of its kind is now kind of turned into a hospital. It's grown. First of its kind in, I think it's about a 60-kilometer radius, which doesn't sound like much to us. It's a big deal. Sad story, while we were there, my wife was serving alongside him in the clinic, and a family showed up with their mother on the back of a motorcycle, died en route, deceased already, didn't make it in time. They drove all the way from Mozambique, because this was the closest health facility, the closest clinic, closest hospital. Bright side, I guess, if you will, to the story, it took them 2 hours to travel there, but they said before this was built, more recently in the last few years, it was 4 hours to the nearest place. So, big deal to have it there. Wow. This is gracious. He's a deaf student. He's scholarship to go to high school for the first time at a deaf school who can attend to his needs, which is far, far away in a city in Malawi. Talina is known for being a great friend. That's what she is. This is the first ever graduating class of Good News Academy. It's actually not even all of them because we were there. It was like after their 2 weeks worth of testing to pass and to finish high school. And so, as you can imagine, they scampered away, many of these students. They are known for crushing the national averages, crushing what the rest of, not rich Malawi, but the rest of not quite as poor Malawi as this region. They crushed the test scores. They did amazingly well. And they're known for, not just from this picture here, but about half of the first graduating class were female, which was part of the vision at the beginning because females don't go to high school in this region. It's just never happened, and Good News Academy has started to try to change that. This is Chief Antuachino, and he is known for showing up at these trainings, community health worker training specifically, to take in the information so that he can support it, so he can back up these volunteers going back into their villages to see the health expectations rise so that people don't die so needlessly. He wasn't the only one. There were pretty much every village chief came. And the experts say that makes all the difference. When the village chief backs up what these community health workers are doing, everything changes. People listen. Health practices change. I just chose him because that hat, y'all. It's fire, right? This is the sister of Stephen Zulu, who I think I mentioned before, who really was he's now deceased, but really was the original visionary of so much of what I'm talking about today in this region. She still lives there, and it's at a place where now, next to that original first church of what is now many, there's a drilled well in the community for the first time. And she makes sure that the church that her brother began is used for great things. In fact, I wandered in the Saturday before I was going to preach there just to kind of like get a lay of the land. And I interrupted. There was a ton of like high school age girls there. And there were some people that she was helping to oversee. And it was essentially girls who had to drop out of high school, but there was still some tutoring going on. Still some education happening for them, even informally. And she doesn't speak a word of English, but through a translator, let me know this is what the church is used for all week long. Like it's the hub of the community. This is what this building has to be for free. It reminds me of another church that I know that uses their facilities for great things during the week as well. These are the moms I mentioned, 20 of them receiving a fair wage because of the partnership with people like you to take care of the children and all of their needs at Good News Children's Home. Last but not least, Joseph Zulu. He is known as a visionary, making things happen beyond this orphanage that he inherited from his father, Stephen Zulu, into now addressing everything that he can possibly address, that this kingdom work can address in all the communities surrounding his area. This is just the tip of the iceberg. As far as like people I could walk you through, what I said about them, what they're known for, this is just the tip of the iceberg. And I just want to say, as I don't know, think through all of that. They can't possibly do it alone. They need people like us. Paul goes on later in that letter to write that church in Jerusalem needed Macedonia, needed churches like the church in Corinth to be the plenty, people who had plenty to supply what they needed. And I think that's what we're starting to be known for. I think it would be amazing to be known for our love and generosity like that first century Macedonian church, to allow our plenty to supply what they need. Good news is we already are. We've already begun. We've already been doing that. Don't take my word for it. I want to show you just one short 47-second video. This is actually from Pastor Robert I introduced you to at first. Literally this week they were having all these trainings. The health workers, the rural bank, the pastors, brand new pastors being trained, getting Bibles for the first time, pastors getting their first Bible. It's crazy in our world, but I want you to hear it straight from them. Just a quick thank you from Pastor Robert and some of the pastors who had gathered to be trained this week.
We thank the church that Patrick and his friends are coming from. We thank God for us to be supported with food, because without the help, we could not manage to do this training. Therefore, I would like to thank all the people there that have really collected their effort to come here and to send us so that we can have this training. These pastors, they are from different denominations. These pastors are from different denominations, but they are happy to receive this teaching. May God bless you all. Amen.
Amen. So thanks. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. It's amazing things that you're a part of, that we're a part of. And every single time I talk with one of these leaders, they're praying. They're praying for me. They're praying for places like our church, because even though they're doing amazing things, they're doing it with what many of us would consider nothing. They've got no resources to do it with. There's no shortage of need, but there's also no shortage of vision, no shortage of strategy. There's some incredibly smart, passionate people doing incredible work. They just don't have the resources. And my question is, have we been blessed with our plenty in order to be an answer to their prayer? They're praying for us, praying that we wouldn't stop loving them. That's the phrase that they often use to supply what they need with our plenty. I think according to Paul would say yes. Yes, that's why we've been blessed with plenty, is in order to maybe share in the privilege of serving God's people in a place far away that maybe many of us would never meet. I want to end just by making it really personal. We're going to put something on the screen in just a moment, and maybe it could serve you like it served me. You could take a photo of this. But I read a book a long time ago. I was 23 or 24 years old. And at the beginning of the book, it said, write your own epitaph. And I was like, that's kind of morbid, but go ahead and decide now, what do you want to be known for when you're dead and gone? What do you want people to say about you? What do you want your life to be known for? And it gave these 5 or 6 prompts, and we're just going to put them on the screen. If you want to take a photo, you can. You can go to Chazon, CHAZOWN.com. I believe it's still there. You can even go through a course, but that's, 17 years ago I read this book. I share this, it's fresh in my mind. I'm cleaning out a bunch of stuff from my home, and I found what I wrote for my epitaph. I printed it up. It was like 2 pages long, because you don't have to write just one sentence. You can write a lot. And I kept it in my home office for years and years and years. I was 23, 24 years old. This began. And I found it. And it's kind of wild to look back on. Like, wow, this really did drive me. This really did lead me. This really did inform me. This was the lens through which I made decisions. I mean, I wrote about, like, what I wanted to be known for, even with my wife, like with the role with the children who weren't even born yet, that I would come to have later. You can make this really, really personal. I encourage you to take some time to do it. I don't think you'll regret it. Because what are you known for currently? What do you want to be known for? Give it some thought. To wrap up today, I just want to invite our pastor, Chris Brown, to come back along with the band to close out what we're talking about today. Thanks, you guys.
Hey, before Patrick leaves, I want to personally thank you not just for sharing, but will you guys thank him too, just for the step of obedience. Those years ago, he left, I don't know if we call what we were doing here easy, but at least there was a steady paycheck. And we dreamed together for a lot of years. And for me, it was a big loss for not having him on the team. But what an incredible gain for the kingdom. So you guys thank him for his willingness to go and to be obedient. So thanks for the message too, brother. Let me just say that this matters. When we started the church many years ago, people, many of you this morning, you passed 10 churches on the way to get to this one. We said, man, why does this city need another church? Does it need another church? And we felt like, man, this city needs a place where people can engage with their unchurched friends and bring them, but we also need a church that raises the water level for everyone around them. In other words, when we are blessed, we bless others. And here's the thing about generosity and giving and all this stuff is none of us ever feel rich. He talks about in that passage being rich. But if you own 1 car, let alone 2, you're in the top 3, 4, 5% of the world's wealth. And so we're just in a position to be generous. And the little for us sometimes makes a massive difference. And so we just decided early on as a church, we're going to do everything in our power to be known for raising the water level for others, that as we are blessed, we're going to bless others, and we're going to give generously. At the beginning of the year, we did something. We were coming out of a really crazy season for us as a church and really didn't have the resources to do this. We said, hey, we're dreaming that this year, in light of the 113 that has been kind of our marching orders and kind of what we've talked about this year, we want to give $113,000 through our 4 Fun Away. 100% of those dollars go back to our partners. And we have a lot of partners. You heard heard him talk about today, Renown Collective, this is just one of the partners that when you're giving to our church, you're giving through our church. And again, 100% of these dollars go back to the marginalized within our community, to the next generation. And this is something we're really passionate about. So as of today, we're about $45,000 short of finishing this fund. And here's what I hope. I want to finish that today. I want us to write some big checks. I want us to do some incredible things as we head towards the end of the year, and I know that we can do that. And so 2 reasons that I think it's a really big deal to give through the local church. One is our impact together is just so much more. When we aim at something together, it is so much more. And the second thing that I think is so important is that when we give through the local church, it allows Jesus to take his rightful place as the hero of the story instead of any of us, where the glory is really given to him and who he is for what he does. And so I want to encourage you today, as the band sings this last song, just think maybe how could you lean in? And think of it in terms of these 113. Maybe for you, like giving $1.13 is a big deal. And maybe for you, you're not a church person. This is not just going to church things. This is going to help humans in our world. Some of you can give $113. Some of you can give $1,113. Some of you can give $13,000. Like our capacities are different, but there is no way that we shouldn't be able to knock this goal out today with some generosity. But here's the real goal. I'd love to see us have 100% participation. I just think you're going to look back, and it won't be one of those things where you're sad that you did. You'll be glad that you did. When you get to hear the stories of the good things that are happening all across all of our partners, you know that you got to be a part of it. That's a beautiful thing. Well, I asked Chelsea to close in the song. I actually heard her sing this, and I said, hey, will you close in this song? And there's this one line in the song, and this is why I wanted to use it, that says, I sought the Lord, and he heard, and he answered. And so as you hear this, here's what I want you to think about. What if? What if there are people, and not what if this is real, what if there are people, and this is real, that are praying around our city because they're in desperate need, around our state because there are people in our state right now in desperate need? What if there are people praying in other zip codes to which some of us will never visit? They're praying and they're begging God for something. And what if on the other side of this, our obedience will be God's answer to their prayer? How cool of a story would that be to be a part of? What if that was one of the things that we're known for being the answer to the prayers? And so today I want us to be generous as a church, but I also want us to sit with this reality that we're going to be known for something, and we get to be a huge part of deciding what that known for really is. And so as we sing this song, I want you to celebrate, I want you to worship, but I also want you to reflect on this idea that I can be known for something. I can be the answer to someone's prayer. I want to pray for us. Father, thank you for your grace. Thank you for your mercy. God, I pray that today you would allow our church to raise the water level for people that on this side of eternity we may never see or meet or know their names, but that we have impacted them. God, I pray that you would allow us to be a part of that. I pray that we be a church that is the rhythm of who we are, that is what we do, because it's what you as our Heavenly Father did through the work of Jesus. Jesus, that's who you are and what you've done. And so I pray in these moments we'd be able to celebrate, we'd be able to worship. In Jesus' precious and powerful name we pray. Amen. Will you stand with us as we sing the song together?